So this problem is an example of solving a quadratic equation by graphing. So it says name the solutions or zeros of the quadratic equation x squared minus 5x plus 4 equals 0. So we're saying what values of x, what would x have to equal to make this true? And our strategy here is to solve by looking at what the graph of f of x equals x squared minus 5x plus 4. So it's like, okay, let's look at this graph. So of course you'd use your strategy and you'd graph it, and it looks like this. And then what we would take a look at is finding where that graph, where the y value is 0, where this is 0. So where is the graph 0? It crosses the x-axis right here at x equals 1 and 2, 3, 4 at 4. So the x values of 1 and 4 would make this equation true. So if we check it, plug 1 in, x squared, so that's 1 squared. 1 minus 5 is negative 4, plus 4 is 0, so 0 equals 0 is true. If we tried 4, put 4 in and square it, that'd be 16. Minus 5 times 4 is 20. 16 minus 20 is negative 4, plus 4 is 0. So they both work. They check. So, looking at another problem, I have no idea what these things are. Anyway, if we're going to solve this one by graphing, so we'd get our equation, we'd graph the related function. Obviously, I've done the graphing for you already, but knowing what you know about how to graph quadratic equations, what we reviewed today, you would graph it, and then you'd look for where the graph crosses the x-axis, because that's where the graph reaches the height of 0 right here. The y value is 0 here. So right here is where the function is equal to 0. So that x value, that's x equals negative 2. Let's double check. Put negative 2 in here. Negative 2 squared is 4 plus 4 times negative 2, so it's negative 8. 4 plus negative 8 is negative 4. Plus 4 is 0. 0 equals 0, so that one checks too. So, example 3, solve this. We don't even know what the equation is, but it would be solve the equation that is represented by this graph of the function. We'd say, okay, where does it cross the x-axis? What are the x-intercepts? There are none here, so no matter what the equation was, because this graph does not cross the x-axis, this has no solution. How about this one? We'd have some function that we'd say, okay, solve this by graphing, and if this was the resulting graph, we would look at the graph and go, okay, this is where the function value is 0. I wonder what that is. Well, we'd have to say x is between, the x value is between 0 and negative 1, and negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and negative 4. So if you think about this, this isn't a very accurate way of doing this. So we can kind of guess, but it's a good strategy if we have a graph and that the x-intercepts are whole numbers. But when it comes between two whole numbers, we're not very accurate. So we need more strategies. So I'm going to pause it here and we're going to move on.